When I'm starting a new day, with my worries far away, I like blue skies and new sights, so many words to say. It's the right time, it's the right time. Loops, dots, and lines, I feel just fine. Let's write the time away. It's the right time.
Hi boys and girls, I'm Shannon Losey. Today we're going to continue practice writing in cursive. Today we'll start writing letters, maybe even a word or two. Hey Bob, are you ready to get started?
Am I ready? You betcha. Here we go.
Hold on a second, Bob. I first want to make sure that everyone has his or her folder. I simply call it my It's the Right Time folder. Make sure you keep all of your cursive writing work in your folder. Then you'll be able to see how far you've progressed. Okay, Bob, as you were saying?
We're going to practice writing lowercase letters that start with the undercurved stroke. Do you remember how to write the undercurved stroke? It begins at the baseline and curves up to the midline. The letters I, T, U, and W all start with the undercurved stroke. Now, which of these four letters end with an undercurved stroke? Let's take another look at the letters. If you said the letters I, T, and U have an end undercurved stroke, you would be correct. So there are letters that begin and end with the undercurved stroke. But what about the W? As you can see, the W starts with an undercurve, but finishes with a different stroke.
That was great, Bob. Now let's take a look at the height of the four letters.
Let's take a closer look at the cursive writing paper again. Here's the baseline, the midline, and the top line. As you can see, the I, the U, and the W are the same height. They each stop at the midline, so they're called short letters. The T goes above the midline and touches the top line, so the T is called a tall letter.
Okay, let's get started with our first letter. Bob, show us the letter I.
The letter I can be found in the words ice and lift. Remember, the undercurved stroke starts at the baseline and curves up to the midline. Then slant or pull down towards your body. Curve at the baseline back up to the midline. That's the end undercurve in the letter I. Now lift your pencil and dot the I.
Before we write the letter I, make sure your desk is clear and that you're sitting up nice and straight with your feet flat on the floor. The only things on your desk should be your paper, your pencil, and your folder. I want you to watch me as I write the letter I, and then we'll write it together. First, I position my paper properly. Since I'm right-handed, I turn my paper to the left like this. If I were left-handed, I would turn my paper to the right like this. See how I hold my paper down with my other hand to keep the paper in place? Okay, I think we're ready to write. Remember, if you're right-handed, you pull the slant down towards your tummy. If you're left-handed, you pull down towards your left elbow. So it's undercurve to the midline, then slant or pull down back to the baseline, and undercurve again back up to the midline. Now I lift my marker and dot the I. Pick up your pencil and write one with me. Here we go. From the baseline, undercurve up to the midline, pull, and undercurve. Did you forget anything? The dot. Let's write another I. Curve, pull, curve, and dot. One more. Curve, pull, curve, and dot. All right, now put your pencils down. There are a couple things I want you to pay close attention to. Place your dot between the midline and the top line. Remember not to lift your pencil until you have finished writing the letter or the word. Very good. Now let's practice writing two I's together and see how they are joined with the undercurve.
You mean like this?
That's it, Bob. See how the two I's are joined? It's just a continuation of the undercurve. All right, pick up your pencil and write two I's with me. The first I starts with a curve, pull, curve to the midline, then pull down again and curve. Now dot the two I's. One more time. From the baseline, start with a curve, pull again, and curve. Be sure to finish at the midline, then dot the two I's. Remember, with the slant stroke, that you're pulling down. Okay, put your pencil down and watch Bob write the letter T.
Here's the letter T in the words time and little. The letter T is a tall letter. A tall letter means that the letter touches the top line and baseline. The T starts with the undercurve stroke at the baseline that reaches all the way up to the top line, then pulls back down with a slant to the baseline and finishes with another undercurve up to the midline. Only then do you lift your pencil and cross the T just above the midline.
Did you get all of that? Well, I'll write it first and then we'll write the letter T together. Start with the undercurve at the baseline, only this time go all the way to the top line, then pull down. Curve back up and finish at the midline, then cross the T. The letter T looks a little bit like an I, doesn't it? You have the two undercurves and the slant, but instead of stopping at the midline, the T touches all the way to the top line. Pick up your pencil and write one with me. Start at the baseline and curve up to the top line, pull down, and curve at the baseline to the midline. Now cross the T. Let's write another one. Try to make it one smooth motion. Curve, pull, and curve to the midline. In manuscript, you cross the T right on the midline, but in cursive, it's crossed just above the midline. In cursive writing, we join letters to form words. So now you're going to join the letters I and T.
Oh, our first cursive word.
That's right. It spells the word it. We're now going to write our first cursive word together. Okay, here we go. Curve to the midline, pull, and this time curve up to the top line. Then pull and curve to the midline. Dot the I and cross the T. This is going to take some practice, so let's try it again. Curve, pull, and curve to the top line, pull, and finish. Then dot the I and cross the T. See how the letter I and the letter T come together? And there's your first cursive word, it. Put your pencil down and let's move on to the letter U. Bob?
Here's the letter U, as in the words up and cloud. The U starts at the baseline, then undercurves to the midline. Slant or pull down, undercurve to the midline again, slant and undercurve again to the midline.
So there are 3 undercurves and 2 slants for the letter U. Don't pick up your pencil just yet. Watch me write it first. The U begins with the undercurve up to the midline. Pull down, curve, pull, and curve back to the midline. Here's the first undercurve, the second undercurve, and the third. Now it's your turn. Pick up your pencil and write with me. Curve, pull again, and curve to the midline. Remember, don't lift your pencil until you have completed writing the entire letter. Let's write one more. Curve, pull, pull, and curve. Try to make your slant lines parallel to each other. That means that the slant lines are going in the same direction. Bob, show us the letters T and U joined together, please.
Okay.
Just like when we joined the I and T, here the T and U easily connect with the undercurved stroke. Let's write TU together. Starting with the letter T, curve to the top line, pull, curve, pull, curve, pull again, and finish at the midline. Cross the T. See how they're joined together using the same undercurve stroke? Very good. Okay, pencil down. Bob is going to write our last letter for today. It's the letter W.
The letter W can be found in the words waves and wild. The letter W starts at the baseline with the undercurve to the midline. Slant or pull down, then undercurve back to the midline. Slant and undercurve to the midline. But this time, the W finishes with a check stroke. The check stroke is a small curved stroke that begins and ends at the midline. The check stroke is used to connect one letter to the next letter, such as the letter I.
Thanks, Bob. There are 4 letters that end with a check stroke, so now is a good time to start practicing it. Watch me first as I write the letter W. Start with the undercurve to the midline. Pull down, curve, pull, curve, and finish off with a check stroke at the midline. See how the check stroke begins and ends at the midline? Okay, pick up your pencil and we'll write the letter W together. Curve, pull, curve, pull, curve, and check stroke at the midline. It's very close to being the letter U, but with a check stroke. Let's write the letter W one more time. Curve, pull, curve, pull, curve, and check stroke. Now let's write a word that starts with the letter W.
How about W-I-T? Wit.
Wit is a very good word. It has all the letters we've practiced so far. Wit means you have a sense of humor.
Me?
Yes, you. All right, I want you to write the word wit with me. Start with the curve at the baseline. Pull, curve, and check stroke. Now connect the I. Pull down, then curve to the top line for the T. Pull, curve, and finish. Dot the I and cross the T. Wow, we wrote 2 cursive words today. Teachers, have your class come up with their own letter combinations using the letters I, T, U, and W. Also, be sure to practice the check stroke. Remember, the more you practice, the better you'll write. Be sure to put today's date on your paper and put it inside your folder. Well, I think it's time for Bob and I to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Keep practicing. See you next time. Bye-bye.
I like blue skies and new sights, so many words to say. It's the right time. It's the right time. Loops, dots, and lines, I feel just fine. Let's write the time away. It's the right time.